Hello! Today we will be talking about that time when I spent 18 hours in Colombia and some of the things I saw and learnt there. Now let me be clear. Spending 18 hours in a place is nowhere near enough to get an even remotely thorough understanding of that place or the culture of the people who live there. Generally, a lifetime spent in a single town is needed for that, and in fact, in the majority of cases, that may not even be enough. So what we will be talking about today are just some first impressions I got during my short visit in the capital of Colombia, Bogotá. These are of course not to be taken as gospel, and with awareness that Colombia is a big country and cannot be represented by Bogotá alone. So let's dive into it. First of all, you may be wondering why the 18 hours only. Well, I am currently based in New York, and at the time I was actually headed to Peru, but I chose my flights in such a way that I could have enough time in between those flights to visit an extra place, in this case, Bogotá. This is a practical example of something I was telling you in another video, that is, if you're already headed somewhere on a trip, then why not check if there is an opportunity to visit an extra place too? This saves you money in the long run, adds some flavor to your travel, and indeed saves the planet that extra trip to the same part of the world. Unless it's a place you want to be spending a longer time in, well, you won't need to go back, at least for a while. So when you see flight combinations out there with an 18-20 hour layover, don't think it's crazy. In fact, this sort of flights are actually cheaper too, so there's some positive in that as well. Now, the first thing I learned about Colombia, which of course can apply to a lot of other places as well, is to not get into a cab unless you have agreed on a fare beforehand. Not with anyone outside the cab or inside the terminal or wherever else, with the driver. And beware that even if you do agree on a fare with the driver, they might still try and bump it up a bit at the end of the ride. They don't mean much by it. It's just a cultural thing, a bad habit if you will. Just be firm and stand by whatever was agreed in the first place, and you'll be fine. The other thing is that the exchange rate in Colombia is so favorable for us, with $1 being worth almost 3,500 Colombian pesos, that sometimes I didn't really mind being overcharged a bit. I know it is wrong to take advantage of tourists, but you know. Anyway, we got into a taxi at the airport and we asked the driver to take us to the old town, and specifically to a district called La Candelaria. I thought it would be a great place to walk around and explore the city a little bit, and it certainly was. I'm not entirely sure of what was going on the day we were there, but there was literally armed police at every corner. The main square, Plaza de Bolívar, was completely blocked off, and we thought it might be because of a military parade, but then who knows. This is a time, of course, when civil unrest is quite common in South America, and also when we were there, we were about 2 weeks away from the Colombian local elections, so we can't be sure of anything really. But anyway, if you're ever in Bogotá, guys, even for a shorter layover, I'd say allow at least 5 to 6 hours just to make sure that you can get back to the airport on time for your next flight. The traffic can be bad, and in fact throughout the day it probably will be, so just make sure you time things properly. I would certainly recommend taking a walk around La Candelaria district and maybe even visit one of the 3 museums nearby: Museo del Oro, Gold Museum, Museo Botero, and Museo Nacional de Colombia, the National Museum of Colombia. And if while in the Candelaria district you want to eat some incredibly cheap yet delicious vegan food, then look no further than the NATIVA, Arte y Comida Natural Café. We ate a menú del día there, a menu of the day, for a whopping $2.50 each. You can't beat that, honestly. After our super yummy vegan meal, we walked around some more, admiring the little streets and the colorful buildings, away from the frankly crazy traffic of the busiest parts of the city. Something we didn't do because, well, it started pouring rather heavily, was to go up the hill called Monserrate, a hill that dominates the city. From what I've seen online, the view from this hill is incredible, so make sure you check that out if you're in Bogotá and you have enough time to do that, and of course if the weather conditions are favorable. Anyway, so the time came for us to make our way back towards the airport and to the hotel, where we were going to get a couple of hours sleep before continuing a trip to Peru. The hotel we stayed in consisted of a really basic double room with an ensuite bathroom, and at a mere $18 for the night, I think it did the job rather handsomely. The hotel is also located about 7 minutes away from the airport by taxi, which made catching a 6:30 a.m. flight to Peru much easier than it may sound. Just a word of caution regarding security checks at El Dorado airport. Make sure you go through them as soon as you arrive, and definitely aim to be there at least 2 hours before your flight. They take a long time. So this is it for my 18 hours in Colombia, but watch this space for the Peruvian part of my South American trip, which I will post about very soon, among other exciting things and trips. But for now, adios amigos y hasta luego.